Increasing club head speed is pretty high on the wish list of most golfers, and yet I don't see too many players really making a meaningful improvement to their club head speed reading. This is because it can be quite a complicated subject to get your head around. However, today's video will share with you some practical tips that you can take to the driving range next time you practice that will immediately help you to increase your club head speed with all clubs, but especially the driver. When it comes to increasing your club head speed with any club in your bag, the first place to look is the length of your backswing, specifically how far your hands travel in the backswing. Because it would make sense the further back your hands travel, the longer you have to pull on this club coming down, the more time you have to get this club back to the ball and theoretically add more power. The opposite of that would be a putting stroke. If I wanted to make the smallest swing, my hands would move through the smallest range of motion. So increasing your hand path length should be something that you start with if you're trying to add more speed to your swing. And there's multiple areas you can get that from. I'll start with the setup. I would tell you to, first of all, start by turning both of your feet out. The external rotation of the hip like this helps to increase rotational range in the hip socket. So it helps you to make a bigger turn effectively. The second thing you can do is to pull your trail foot back. That's going to stagger your stance, aim your feet slightly to the right of where you're trying to go as a right-handed golfer. But that will also preset some hip turn at setup. All of these things, again, are helping to maximize the amount of hand path travel that you get in the backswing. And the final thing that you can do in the backswing that would really help is allowing your knees to change flex. The knee flex change is really the hip turn, and the hip turn is what allows the shoulders to go as far back as we want to maximize that rotation. So we're really just trying to use the body, use the joints as they're designed to get the maximum range of motion that we can to increase our turn. So if you want to increase your club head speed, turn your feet out, stagger your stance, make sure you are changing your knee flex fully in the backswing to get as far back and around you as you possibly can. Once you do that, you've got more time to pull on this club coming down, and you should find that you're able to hit the ball further than you did before. That's a slight overdraw there, but a nice in-to-out swing path. That ball's gone well over 250 yards. So that's a good starting point. If you're trying to increase your club head speed, make sure you're doing those little pieces at setup and in your backswing to give you maximum chance of hitting the ball as far as you can. The next thing I want to discuss is what you can do with that additional hand path length. Yes, you can make a bigger backswing. That doesn't necessarily mean you're immediately going to increase your speed. For some of you it will, and I hope that that's the case. But for many of you, you'll make a longer backswing and still see no meaningful change in the actual club head speed number. So what we do from the top of the swing matters. In fact, from the top of the backswing to about where the hands are halfway down in the downswing, this period of the swing here is when the hands are actually moving at their fastest. That's quite an interesting concept for many of you to get your heads around. Many of you will think that the hands need to be moving quickly at impact, but by impact the hands are already slowing down, transferring the energy out into the club head. So there's an exercise I want to share with you to do from the top of the backswing down into the downswing here to help you increase that club speed even further. And for this, you're going to take an alignment stick. You'll notice I've got this alignment stick in my hands. I'm going to make a backswing. And what I'm going to ask you to practice is from the top of the swing with this long, lengthened hand path, I want you to swing down to position 6. We call this P6, where the shaft, or in this case, the stick, is parallel to the ground. You're going to swing down as fast as you can and stop immediately. This is easier to do with a light tour stick or alignment stick, and gradually as you progress through this drill you can make this object heavier and even progress all the way up to a club eventually, and I'll show you what that looks like. But get to the top, pull down and stop. Notice how the end of the stick is going to flex a lot. I have to pull down quickly, trying to create as much speed, and then put the brakes on quickly as well. It's learning to go fast and then slow the hands down, which will ultimately train a good sequence to help you get the maximum speed out into the club head. So you're going to go up, down and stop, and you're going to do that multiple times. Now, when you start doing that, you may find that quite difficult to achieve. So take your time, build up slowly, start with a light tour stick to begin with. You may find as you come down, you're not able to stop and it crashes into the ground. That's because you haven't trained the correct wrist sequence, you haven't trained the correct arm, hand and wrist sequence that you need. But that's the purpose of this exercise. Go to the top, lengthen out that hand path, pull down and put the brakes on. Quick question for you. Did you know that 80% of your golf ball's direction comes from the club face angle at impact? And it's your wrists that control that angle. If you want to hit straighter shots and add more distance to your game, then check out the link in the description below. Then eventually you can progress to something heavier like the club. And the next stage in this drill would be just to split your hands slightly on the grip. So they're not completely together, they're a little bit apart. This will help you with the same exercise. Go to the top, pull down and stop. Pull down and stop. Trying to get that speed early in the downswing. And as you're training those hands to slow down, that will ultimately help this club head to line up beautifully at impact with maximum speed. So there's a drill you can start to do, and you don't even need to go to the driving range to do that. You can start to train that at home. 5 to 10 minutes a day, just doing that exercise will start to show across your full swing when you get to the range. Because it's really about understanding how to apply the force early in the downswing and then have it kick out in the second part of the downswing into impact. And that's really where this final drill would kick in. So once you come to actually hit the ball, we've got this longer backswing, staggered stance, increased turn. I'm pulling down quickly. I'm going to hit this driver as hard as I can, but I'm going to stop as soon as I can after impact. Hit hard, stop quick with the driver. It looks something like this. Now, having the intention of stopping as quickly as I can after impact slows my hands down and helps to throw the power out into the club head. It's really a sequencing drill. That overdrew slightly. That ball's gone 253 yards with a tiny little follow through. I've often used this drill to help people train better ball striking with their shorter clubs. It's certainly something you can use for any club in your bag. And if you want to learn how to train the very complex sequence of the wrists in a simple and straightforward way, this drill is exactly the drill that you should try next time you're at the driving range. Increase your backswing using the tools that I've already mentioned with the setup. Make a bigger turn to get that hand path longer. Pull down with as much speed as you can, hit as hard as you can, stopping as quickly as you can. That exercise will incorporate many of the things that you need to do in order to train good wrist angles. And I promise you that if you can do all of those things, you will see your club head speed increase.